Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tirya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloki Bhakter Bhagavati Naishtiki. So continuing with this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, today we are starting the chapter 14, Ideal Family Life, which is very, very important for all of us to learn. Text number 1 onwards. Maharaj Yudhishthir, the shloka is Shri Yudhishthir Uvacha Grihastha Etam Padavim Vidina Yena Chanjasa Yaya Devarishe Bruhi Madrisho Griha Mudadhi. Maharaj Yudhishthir inquired from Narad Muni, O my lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas. See, this is the humility, so much of humility. Maharaj Yudhishthir, he had just finished this Ratsya Yajna where Krishna himself was there when he killed Shishupal. And after that, Maharaj Yudhishthir talked to Narad Muni. And all the sages would regularly visit Maharaj Yudhishthir. And after Prahlad Maharaj's story, Maharaj Yudhishthir asked Narad Muni that how we can also make progress in bhakti, like Prahlad Maharaj. So Narad Muni started talking about Varnashram Dharma, about different Varnas, different ashrams. Now Maharaj Yudhishthir is saying, so explain to us who we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also attain liberation. He has all the knowledge. He knows everything. And the word he used is griha mudadhi, completely ignorant of the goal of life. Maharaj Yudhishthira knows everything. But this is his humility, so much humility. And it's not like he's showing off as, oh, I'm so humble, and he's asking his questions as a show off. No, he really wants to know. And also, obviously, since it's in Bhagavatam, it's for all of us to understand. That is a reason these devotees are so dear to Krishna. They're so humble. In the previous chapters, the great sage Narada has explained how a brahmachari, a vanaprastha, and a sannyasi should act. He first explained the dealings of a brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi because these three ashrams or statuses of life are extremely important for fulfillment of the goal of life. One should note that in the brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyasa ashram, there is no scope for sex life, whereas sex is allowed in grihastha life under regulations. Narad Muni therefore first described brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyas because he wanted to stress that sex is not at all necessary, although one who absolutely requires it is allowed to enter grihastha life or household life, which is also regulated by the Shastras and Guru. Yudhishthira Maharaj could understand all this. Therefore, as a grihastha, he presented himself as a griha mudadhi, one who is completely ignorant of the goal of life. A person who remains a householder in family life is certainly ignorant of life's goal. He is not very much advanced in intelligence. As soon as possible, one should give up his so-called comfortable life at home and prepare to undergo austerity or tapasya. Tapo divyam patrika. According to the instructions given by Rishabdev to his sons, we should not create a so-called comfortable situation, but must undergo to but must prepare to undergo austerity. This is how a human being should actually live to fulfill life's ultimate goal. So tapasya is very, very important in any ashram, and especially in Grihastha ashram, because we get used to the so-called comfortable life at home. But wonderful question by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Shri Narad Uvacha Griheshvavasthito Rajan Kriya Kuryan Yathochitaha Vasudevarpanam Sakshat Upasit Mahamuni. Narad Muni replied, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. The format for Grihastha life should be dedication to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Anashita karma phalam karyam karam karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnira na chakriya. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated to the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Whether one acts as a brahmachari, grihastha, vanprastha, sannyasi, he must act only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. This should be the principle for everyone's life. Narad Muni has already described the principles of life for a brahmachari, vanprastha, sannyasi, and now he is describing how a grihastha should live. The basic principle is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by our work, by our dealings with others, by our lifestyle. The principle is to satisfy Krishna. That's all. And one who does that, as Krishna says, one who is unattached to the fruits of work and who works as he is obligated. It's not like giving up work is renunciation. He has to work, but unattached to the fruits of work. Then he is a sannyasi. Then he is like living in a renounced order of life. And he is a true mystic. He is a sannyasi and a yogi, not the one who lights no fire and performs no work. So generally our thinking is, oh, one who lights no fire, he's so austere and he's living in a hut and begging for food. So he must be really great. Yeah, he is. We are not against his greatness. But according to Krishna, one who works without being attached to the fruits of work, and still he does the work. That is a real sannyasi. The science of satisfying the Supreme Lord can be learned as described here. Sakshat Upasita Mahamuni. The word Mahamuni refers to great saintly persons or devotees. Saintly persons are generally known as munis, or thoughtful philosophers concerned with transcendental subject matters. And Mahamuni refers to those who have not only thoroughly studied the goal of life, but who are actually engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. These persons are known as devotees. Unless one associates with devotees, one cannot learn the science of Vasudevarapana, or dedicating one's life to Vasudeva, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how to satisfy the Lord? How to dedicate one's life to Krishna? Only with the association of devotees one can learn. And that's what it is said, Mahamuni. Mahamuni means the saintly person, or great saintly person, who always engaged in service. In India, the principles of this science were followed strictly, even 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, like this Bhagavatam Prabhupada wrote these purports in the 1970s, so maybe so around 1920, so 100 years ago from now. I saw that in the villages of Bengal and the suburbs of Calcutta, people engaged in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily when all their activities ended, or at least in the evening before going to bed. Everyone would hear the Bhagavatam. Bhagavad classes were held in every village, and thus people had the advantage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes everything about the aim of life, liberation or salvation. This will be clearly explained in the next verses. Now, forget about evening or morning or afternoon. Everybody just engaged in their smartphones. Forget about Bhagavatam. It's all about politics or sports or movies or fashion or whatever else that is going on all over the world. That's what we are interested in, instead of being interested in what's inside us. So only when Prabhupada wrote this, so 50 years ago, so even in 1970s, this trend was not there, listening to Bhagavatam daily. No way. Shanman Bhagavato Abhikshanam Avatar Katham Ritam Shadadhano Yatha Kalam Upashanta Janavritaha Satsanga Chanaka Sangam Atma Jayatma Jadishu Vimunchena Muchamaneshu Swayam Swapna Vad Uttitaha. A grihastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So there is no forceful detachment or separation. Gradually, because then he gets more and more attached to name and activities of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement has been established to give grihasthas all over the world an opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita specifically. The process is described in many ways as one of hearing and chanting. Sharnvatam Sakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Everyone, especially the grihasthas who are mudadhi, ignorant about the goal of life, should be given opportunities to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing, by attending lectures in the different centers of the Krishna consciousness movement, where topics of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are discussed, they will be purified of their sinful inclination for constant indulgence. So purification is from our sinful inclination. To do what? Constant indulgence in illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, which have all become prominent in modern days. So this inclination, the propensity is there, and that will be rooted out. By what? By Shravanam. Shravanam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. By doing that regularly. Thus they can be raised to the status of light. Punya Shravana Kirtana. Simply by joining the Kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And by hearing about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, one must be purified, especially if he also takes prasad. This is all going on in the Krishna consciousness movement. So that's all we have to do. Every day, just chant and hear Bhagavatam. Another specific description here is Shranvan Bhagavato Abhikshanam Avatar Katha. It is not that because one has once finished Bhagavad Gita, he should not hear it again. The word Abhikshanam is very important. We should hear again and again. There is no question of stopping. Even if one has read these topics many times, he should go on reading again and again, because Bhagavad Katha, the words spoken by Krishna and spoken by Krishna's devotees about Krishna, are Amritam, Katha Amritam. The more one drinks this Amritam, the more he advances in his eternal life. So his Katha, Krishna Katha, is called Katha Amritam. The Amritam has many meanings. One meaning is Prabhupada nectar. It is nectar. It is very, very sweet, very tasty. And also it takes us beyond Mrityu. That is also called Amritam. So means takes us back to the spiritual world. Why we don't have taste for this? Because we are suffering from the disease of jaundice of ignorance. So what happens when somebody has jaundice? It is explained in Nectar of Instruction. If somebody has developed jaundice, even if we feed him sweet things, it will taste him like bitter. Or he cannot taste the sweetness of even the sweetest thing, which is like sugarcane juice, and he cannot taste the sweetness because he has this disease of jaundice. But what's the remedy? The remedy for jaundice is keep on feeding him the sweet things. Just keep on giving him whatever, sugarcane juice or sweet candies or whatever. And slowly, his taste buds will grow back because his disease of jaundice will be gone. So similarly, Krishna Katha, which is Amritam, we don't have a taste for it. What is the remedy? Listening to it again and again and again and again. And slowly, the jaundice of ignorance will be gone and will develop taste. It's not like many times people argue, oh, I don't have a taste. Once I develop taste, I'll go listen to Katha or I go to the temple. How are you going to develop taste? If we don't go to the temple, don't listen to Katha, don't chant. This is also an argument. Oh, I don't like to chant. I don't get a taste. I'm not going to chant. Well, how are we going to develop taste without chanting? It's not like it's an on and off switch. So one day we'll wake up and the switch will be on and then we have a taste. We have to work on it. Whether we like it or not, chant. Sit down and chant. And if sitting down makes you sleepy, okay, walk around and chant. Stand up and chant. But chant. There's no other way beyond this, besides this. Nothing. We have to develop the taste. The human form of life is meant for liberation. But unfortunately, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, every day the Grihasthas are working hard like asses. Early in the morning, they rise and travel even 100 miles away to earn bread. Especially in the Western countries, I have seen that people awaken at 5 o'clock to go to offices and factories to earn their livelihood. People in Calcutta and Bombay also do this every day. They work very hard in the office or factory, and again they spend 3 or 4 hours in transportation, returning home. Then they retire at 10 o'clock and again rise early in the morning to go to their offices and factories. This kind of hard labor is described in the Shastras as a life of pigs and stool eaters. Heavy. Nayam deho dehibhajam driloke. Kashtana kamana arhate vid bhujamaye. Of all living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form of life should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One must find some time for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. This is Vedic culture. One should work 8 hours at the most to earn his livelihood, and either in the afternoon or in the evening, a householder should associate with devotees to hear about the incarnations of Krishna and his activities, and thus be gradually liberated from the clutches of Maya. However, instead of finding time to hear about Krishna, the householders, after working hard in offices and factories, find time to go to restaurant or club, where instead of hearing about Krishna and his activities, they are very much pleased to hear about the political activities of demons and non-devotees and to enjoy sex, wine, women, and meat, and in this way waste their time. This is not Grihastha life, but demoniac life. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, with its centers all over the world, gives such fallen and condemned persons an opportunity to hear about Krishna. And what's the purpose of hearing about Krishna? To develop love for him and remove those propensities to do all these sinful activities. That's the only way possible. And it is, well, now with Corona call, I mean, people at least working from home, they don't have to get up early morning and to go to offices. But still, people are working from homes, and it's not easy either. Just because the commute time is gone doesn't mean there's lots of free time at hand. So this is true. People travel in the morning and 2 hours, and then in the evening back home and work in the office 10, 11 hours a day. So where is any time left to do anything? So this is a lifestyle they have chosen. In a dream, we form a society of friendship and love, and when we are awakened, we see that it has ceased to exist. Similarly, one's gross society, family, and love are also a dream, and this dream will be over as soon as one dies. Therefore, whether one is dreaming in a subtle way or a gross way, these dreams are all false and temporary. One's real business is to understand that one is soul, Aham Brahmasmi, and that his activities should therefore be different. Then one can be happy. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards all living entities. In that state, he attains pure devotion service. One who is engaged in devotion service can very easily be liberated from the dream of materialistic life. So this dream that I have to work hard to maintain my family, and if I don't, then who will take care? Well, we have to do our duties, but not be attached to the results of our activities. Then we act like a sannyasi. And also it is true, of course, we have to have full faith in the Lord, that we think if I don't work hard, if I don't work for 10, 12 hours a day, and in the morning travel 2 hours, and in the evening again travel back 2 hours, then I cannot make enough money to support my family. Or some think if I don't cheat others, I cannot make money. I can only make money by cheating. That is not true. As Prahlad Maharaj, we read about that Whatever is in our hands, it's going to come. We don't have to cheat. We just have to work honestly. And at the same time, if we dedicate our life in the service of Krishna, after work, before work, or whenever we can, then Krishna also helps. Krishna definitely helps. But the faith has to be there. Yavadartham upasino dehe gehe cha pandita virakto raktavat tatra niriloke naratam nyase. While working to earn his livelihood as much as necessary to maintain body and soul together, one who is actually learned should live in human society unattached to family affairs, although externally appearing very much attached. This is a picture of ideal family life. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramanand Rai about the goal of life, Ramanand Rai describes it in different ways according to the recommendations of the revealed scriptures. And finally, Sri Ramanand Rai explained that one may stay in his own position, whether as a Brahman, a Shudra, a sannyasi, or whatever, but one must try to inquire about life's goal, Atata Brahma Jigyasa. This is the proper utilization of the human form of life. When one misuses the gift of the human form by unnecessarily indulging in animal propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and does not try to get out of the clutches of Maya, which subjects one to repeated birth, death, old age, and disease, one is again punished by being forced to descend to the lower species and undergo evolution according to the laws of nature. Prakriti kriyamanani. Being completely under the grip of the material nature, the living entity must evolve again from the lower species to the higher species until he at last returns to human life and gets a chance to be freed from the material clutches. So the idea is to be free from the material clutches, to find the life's goal, not just to make more and more and more and more money. A wise man, however, learns from the Shastras and Guru that we living entities are all eternal, but are put into troublesome conditions because of associating with different modes under the laws of material nature. He therefore concludes that in the human form of life, he should not endeavor for unnecessary necessities, but should live a very simple life, just maintaining body and soul together. Certainly, one requires some means of livelihood, and according to one's varna and ashram, this means of livelihood is prescribed in the Shastras. One should be satisfied with this. Therefore, instead of hankering for more and more money, a sincere devotee of the Lord tries to invent some ways to earn his livelihood. And when he does so, Krishna helps him. Earning one's livelihood, therefore, is not a problem. The real problem is how to get free from the bondage of birth, death, old age. Attaining this freedom and not inventing unnecessary necessities. Prabhupada used this word again, unnecessary necessities. So we have made those necessities which are not really required. And this is the basic principle of Vedic civilization. One should be satisfied with whatever means of life comes automatically. The modern materialistic civilization is just the opposite of the ideal civilization. Every day, the so-called leaders of modern society invent something contributing to a cumbersome way of life that implicates people more and more in the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. And that we can see every day it's going on. New inventions, new gadgets, new gizmos, new things, and then the marketing starts, and then we think if I don't have it, then my life is a waste. My life is completely empty. If I don't get this, how will I be happy? And to get there, then we have to work hard. We have to make more money. Now we have seen how these two um, richest people of the world, they have gone to the space. They went to space in a rocket and spent whatever time there, and they came back. Now it has become a big craze. Oh, we also want to go to space. So for us to go to space, this much money is required, and you have to be this fit or whatever. And now people are lining up to go to space. And what are you going to do over there? Nothing. It's nothing to see. It's all dark. You go to space in the rocket. I don't think they will even get a chance to get out of the rocket. And they come back. That's all. So for that thrill ride, which has become a craze, they're ready to spend so much of money. Well, what are you going to get out of it? Just a name that, yes, so and so went to the space and came back. But this is what um, the material civilization. Krishna consciousness is so simple. One does not need lots of money to be a devotee. No need. No need to spend a whole lot of money to become a devotee or even after becoming a devotee. Nothing. Krishna is happy with just if you give him patram pushpam phalam toya. He doesn't even say from your own garden get me patram pushpam phalam. Get from somebody else's garden also. That's also okay. And just chant. That's all. You'll be happy. Krishna will be happy. That's all. But since it is so simple, we don't want to do it. We are just creating unnecessary necessities rather than making our life very simple. We can keep our lives simple and spend whatever leftover time. Actually, it should not be leftover time. Whatever time we save, we should spend it in the service of Krishna. That's all. And it is so fulfilling, so satisfying, so enlivening that one doesn't even want to go out of the house. You think Corona is bad, it has put us inside the house. No. A devotee doesn't even want to go out. What's there to see anyway outside? At home, deities are there. We can cook for the deities, some simple food, and chant and read. There's so much literature to read. So much we can do at home, sitting at home. And it will save us from all these advertisements and all the glittering things we see in the mall or in the market. Then if we see it, we develop a desire to possess it. So just no need to go. But for that we have to practice. We have to practice. So Narad Muni further says, Gyatya pitro putra bhratra suhridu apare yad vadanti yad dichanti chanu modeta nirmamaha. An intelligent man in human society should make his own program of activities. Very simple. If there are suggestions from his friends, children, parents, brothers, or anyone else, he should externally agree, saying, yes, that is all right. But internally, he should be determined. not to create a cumbersome life in which the purpose of life will not be fulfilled. So internally, so don't fall into that trap. Of course, the family, friends, parents, and everybody will say, "Oh, I am your well-wisher. I only wish you well. I'm your best friend or best person you should talk to." Well, obviously, everybody will speak according to their own level of realization, according to their own viewpoint, their own consciousness. And from that perspective, they're not wrong either. But we have to see what is best for my bhakti. That's what we should do. Divyam bhaumam chantariksham vittam achyut nirmitam tat sarvam upayunjan etat kuryat svato buddha. The natural products created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be utilized to maintain the bodies and souls of all living entities. The necessities of life are of three types: those produced from the sky, from rainfall, from the earth, from the mines, the seas, or the fields, and from the atmosphere, that which is obtained suddenly and unexpectedly. Hmm. So Prabhupada says, we living entities in different forms are all children of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yonishu Kunteya. It should be understood that all species of life, son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the father of all living entities in different species. One who is intelligent can see that all living entities in the 8.4 million bodily forms are part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are his sons. Everything within the material and spiritual worlds is a property of the Supreme Lord, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, and therefore everything has a relationship with him. Srila Rupa Goswami says in this regard, one who rejects anything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is incomplete in his renunciation. And Prabhupada had given this example that if I'm renting a house, I'm renting, I'm not the owner, I'm just a tenant. And I come out of the house and I say, I renounced this house. You cannot renounce anything that doesn't belong to you, that doesn't belong to you. So simple. So similarly, everything in the material world belongs to Krishna. I cannot say I renounce this thing or that thing. It was not mine to begin with. Everything belongs to Krishna. Only thing that we can renounce is our desire to enjoy it, desire to use it in my service. That is a thing that we should renounce. Not the thing, but the desire. And the real desire should be to engage everything in the service of Krishna. That is a real renunciation also. Although Mayavadi philosophers say that the material creation is false, actually it is not false, it is factual. But the idea that everything belongs to a human society is false. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for everything is created by Him. All living entities, being the Lord's sons, His eternal parts and parcels, have the right to use their Father's property by nature's arrangement. As stated in the Upanishads, Tena Tirtena Bhunjita. Everyone should be satisfied with the things allotted him by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one should encroach upon another's rights or property. So that is a real principle. Whatever is allotted to me by the Supreme Lord, I should be satisfied with. And sometimes people ask, how would I know? Well, if I'm encroaching upon any of the rights or properties, and it's not naturally coming to me, means it's not allotted to me. And what happens if we try to steal somebody else's property? So it's not allotted, but I have a desire. So then what is going to happen? So desire, either it will be fulfilled by the sanctioning of the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, but in the process, I'm creating so many negative karmas for myself, so many sinful activities. First, the activity of taking over somebody else's property, and then the so much of agony I have let that person go through, so many issues, and then on top of it, I developed this wrong desires. And the desires, they just don't go away. Then I'll try to take over somebody else's property also. In this whole process, I created so many negative karmas for myself. In the end, nothing. I might be able to enjoy that property for a while. Well, then what? How much I have to suffer? That's why Krishna says everyone should be just satisfied with the things allotted him. And if it is in my destiny, um, in my life, it is going to come anyway. We don't need to worry so much about it. And just like Prahlad Maharaj also said that we don't ask for distress in our life, but it comes without us asking, without us even expecting. It comes. The bad times come. Similarly, the good times will also come without us praying for it or begging for it or asking or expecting or anticipating. It will come. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Annad bhavanti bhutani. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. When food grains are sufficiently produced, both animals and human beings can be nourished without difficulty for their maintenance. This is nature's arrangement, Prakriti Kriyamana. Everyone is acting under the influence of material nature, and only fools think they can improve upon what God has created. The householders are specifically responsible for seeing that the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are maintained without fighting between men, communities, societies, or nations. Human society should properly utilize the gifts of God, especially the food grains that grow because of rain falling from the sky. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyat Bhavati Parjanya, so that rainfall will be regulated, humanity should perform yagyas, or sacrifices. Yagyas were previously performed with offering of oblations of ghee and food grains. But in this age, of course, this is no longer possible, for the production of ghee and food grains has diminished because of the sinful life of human society. However, people should take to Krishna consciousness and chant the Hare Krishna mantra as recommended in the Shastras. If people throughout the world take to Krishna consciousness movement and chant the easy sound vibration of the transcendental name and fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there will be no scarcity of rainfall. Consequently, food grains, fruits, flowers will be properly produced, and all the necessities of life will be easily obtained. Very bold statement by Prabhupada. There will be no scarcity of rainfall if everybody takes up chanting of the holy names. This is the yajna that is prescribed for this Kali Yuga. So if we do the yajna, yajna bhavati parjanyo. Bhagavad Gita says, yajna creates rain, not the trees that create rain. Otherwise, why the rain falls when there are no trees, just like the ocean. There's a rainfall there. But there are no trees in the ocean. So yajnas create the rain. And if rains are there, food grains will be there, fruits and flowers. Actually, that is all we need to be happy. Rest everything is unnecessary necessities. Grihasthas or householders should take the responsibility for organizing such natural production. It is therefore said, Taseva heto priyate tako vido. An intelligent person should try to spread Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And all the necessities of life will automatically follow. And everything will follow. There's no, we shouldn't have any doubts about it. Actually, small incident with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. When he opened the temple in Calcutta, so devotees, because it was a big temple and they had to run around to make arrangements for the maintenance and operations of the temple. So everybody was in anxiety and they were working hard. But then one day Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he saw that. And the devotees were lacking in their sadhana also because of working so hard for the maintenance and operations of the temple. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj told them, okay, from tomorrow, you're not going to go, nobody will go outside to collect any food or any money, nothing. We'll all sit in the temple and chant. And some of the senior disciples, they try to argue or talk to discuss with Maharaj that how are we going to do, how are we going to maintain? And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was strict, adamant. He said, no, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to rely on holy name and we're just going to chant. Because this is what the scriptures say. If you do this yajna, everything will be provided. Okay, it was Maharaj's order and everybody said, okay, we'll follow. So next day they all just sat in the temple, didn't go anywhere, no phone calls, no visits, no money collection. They just chanted. They chanted and nothing happened. So the managers, they were worried. They went to Maharaj, Maharaj, we cannot go on forever with this chanting and not collecting. We have to do the services. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, don't worry, just sit down and chant. So again, next day, everybody just sat and chanted. And still nothing happened, no donations. And next day, again, they sat and chanted. And by the evening, there were visitors and they just looked at everybody. They are just sitting down and chanting, not going out to collect. And they were thinking, how will this temple run? So they started bringing stuff themselves. And okay, you keep these grains or this rice or this dal, this whatever, and just serve the deities. So afterward, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj told them that it's not by our going out and working so hard that Krishna is feeding us. No. Or we are collecting. It's all is happening by the mercy of holy names. We should just learn this, that We have been given this service, so I'm doing this service. That's all. It's not like by my service I'm running the temple or doing whatever wonderful results I'm getting. No, that's all been done by mercy of Krishna. So this yajna of chanting of the holy names, very, very, the most important and the most beneficial, most powerful yajna for Kali Yuga. And if you do that properly, as Prabhupada said, there'll be no scarcity in life, whether in our house or in the temples or the center or wherever. There cannot be any scarcity in life. So I guess I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.